fucking 5 pounds of food, you fat fuck.
I fucking put it all in my fucking maw. I fit every last fucking ounce of fucking food on those plates into my fucking maw. The people said it couldn't be done, but I ate that whole fucking child-sized burrito. And
I remember when we stopped at the Chinese place, and like you're getting something like, yeah, like you have this whole giant fucking burrito. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna eat both. Like, you
I ate
disgusting
fucking
fuck.
Oh my god, dude. It was just, can you imagine the look of both fucking Mexican and Chinese, like,
Yeah.
just swirling around in one fucking gullet? Like, it's borderline discrimination and hedonism, like, all wrapped up into one fucked up package. And it was
Then we got to the game store, and you're just shoveling this fucking Chinese food down, and the whole night you're just fucking.
And I felt like ass too. That was the worst part. Is I felt like fucking ass, and I kept doing it because I was like, I think I was something to the degree of like I didn't want to bring that food anywhere else because I was being a lazy fuck, and I'm like, well, it's easier to like transport it in my body than it is to transport it in this like styrofoam container. And then I just fucking
sluggish the whole fucking night.
Yeah, then I just fucking I was like a fucking sloth. Like it was like that scene from Seven where they go in and they go in on the gluttony, and it's that dude that like
20 pounds of spaghetti and explodes.
Yeah. He ate all that fucking shit and he like exploded and died at the apartment while I was like being force fed. It's pretty much what I fucking did to myself right there, but
I played like fucking 12 games that night.
I know.
You're fucking sitting there dying.
I was fueled up. I had the proper gamer fuel. All that Chinese. Fuck. It was like the obesity version of like extreme Lunchables. Do you need the fuel to get you gaming all fucking night?
I just remember you like fucking like your eyes were half closed and you're fucking struggling to breathe.
So fucked up. All right.
Oh, hello, shit, you're recording.
And welcome to the Magic. I'm your host, Pat. And this is your other host,
Pat.
And we're talking about our philosophy on the Commander format and occasionally the state of Magic the Gathering as a whole. Before we begin, I just wanted to make sure that you listening at home, this is not a family-friendly podcast. And while we certainly love listeners, we recommend turning to other Commander-focused podcasts if you're averted to the use of foul language, as discussed previously. And with that disclaimer out of the way, we can get started. The fuck is new with you?
Christmas. I'm trying to hold back diarrhea after eating lasagna last night.
Yeah, but why the fuck are you trying to hold it back? Just let it flow through you. Don't fucking...
I wanted to record this episode.
Why are you puckering that butthole? Just fucking undo it, like unzip it, and just let it fucking flow.
My bathroom doesn't have good acoustics.
Yeah, it's nothing that like a fucking episode of HGTV. Maybe you got like Property Brothers in there.
I mean, it's not like we really care about audio anyways, and fucking episodes sound like shit.
That's the important part, though, is that the people know we try real hard because we sound like the fucking obese motherfuckers we are.
Fucking first episode is all heavy breathing.
Hey, hold on, we stop the podcast. I need to go get...
Where did we leave off last week? I don't remember.
What did we talk about last week? I think we talked about...
No, where did we leave off?
Oh, we left off on... I talked about all of my... Why the fuck you gotta ask me this now when I'm at the bottom of the fucking drink? I talked about... I'm pretty sure I talked about me finishing up at the local game store.
Yeah. I remember now.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. See, fucking drunken recall.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I'm a big boy now.
I back in during Theros.
Yeah. You know what? Well, fuck you, because I'm going to tell you what's new with me. I saw Uncut Gems, and that shit was a mindfuck. I described it as the film. I was at work and I described it as, is that scene in Beer Fest where they're facing the Germans?
Yeah.
And the dude goes, "What do you think about that, fuckhead?" And then the German dude takes a bite out of the fucking the growler and goes, "What do you think about that, head fuck?" Fucking like it's like the film equivalent of the fucking German biting the fucking growler, going, "What do you think about that, head fuck?" And I'm just like, immediately, like the first 30 minutes in the film, the Adam Sandler, he's playing like the fucking most downward spiral Jewish dude in the fucking world, which that's not even fucking, it's not religious slander. He's Jewish to the fucking T in the movie. And he, like, within fucking 30 minutes has smuggled a giant uncut black ass opal into the US, and he's holding it up as everyone is like telling him how much of a fuck up he is, and he looks up and he's like, "I think I'm about to come." And fucking like that movie's that movie's a goddamn achievement. I hope it gets best picture, because
Is
that whole,
is it a comedy or is it like a drama thing?
it's a comedy. It's like a dark comedy.
Oh, okay.
It's like it's like Falling Down, but with like everyone's just trying to fuck each other. There's like copious amounts of fucking blow. Like,
So it's not a Sandler movie. It's an actual movie.
It's Sandler.
Okay.
It's like Sandler trying to do a Jewish impression, but it just happens to fit the motif. And he's like, I mean, I'm not even being like, I'm not kidding. He does the like, he himself doesn't really have the, and obviously he has talked about how he's Jewish before, or at least, you know, he's had movies where he's outwardly been Jewish in them. He's celebrated his Jewish heritage. If that's I don't know the full extent of it, but point
Here
being
we
is,
go again. You drinking and talking about the Jews. Every fucking time.
I swear, I've never fucking talked about the Jews before. Fucking, there you go again with the fucking drinking and the Jews. Whatever, motherfucker. There's Passover in the movie. I'm saved. Look at me. I fucking saved it. There's Passover in the goddamn film at one point. All right, so we're safe. The point being is that he is on just the downward spiral of a lifetime, and he is just struggling, and it is beautiful. I recommend that movie wholeheartedly. It is a fucking wild ride. I recommend it over fucking Star Wars, because I didn't fucking watch that shit because I'm good. Papa's good.
So where do you want to start off? Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
You want me to go off the high dive first? I can talk about my stuff.
Sure.
Okay. So when I left off, it was talking about and that's a preface. This is part 2 of the last episode, where we were briefly touching on, I say briefly, it was an hour, but
Hour and a half.
an hour and a half of our fucking rambles. But I left off at the game store that I had initially come into and seen people playing Commander. And when I got into that store and I saw all of those EDH decks being played, I didn't know what the fuck they were at the time. I definitely saw the commanders unto themselves and the 99 cards off to the side over there, and I was like, what the fuck is this? And then they kind of just started talking about Commander being a singleton format, and you would obviously had exposure before I did.
Yeah.
And when they started talking to me about it, I thought it was strange because I'd never played Magic in a singleton format before, and I wasn't super about it at first, and then I started watching videos on it and realizing, like, oh man, this is the fucking dunkening. Like, there's a lot of creativity and expression to be had here, because I think the decks I saw at the table that day, and I remember them pretty explicitly. I saw a Nekusar deck. I saw a Brimaz deck. I saw. Oh man, what was the other one? I think I saw a Titania deck, and then I'm pretty sure I saw a Duretti deck. So it was a pretty good mix.
Yeah.
And I watched them play out for a little bit, and I thought that was super cool. So from there, I ended up getting. I bought into my first commander deck because I remember the first order on Card Kingdom I had made where I was like I hadn't ordered off of Card Kingdom since probably 2007 when like Card Kingdom was like it was roughly starting up at the time, and it was the only way I could get cards back when I was in Washington. I couldn't get them any other way, so I recall that they were one of the ways I'd gotten before, and I remember getting like 80 something cards in the mail, and
Jesus.
it just felt fucking ridiculous, and it was a lot of Eldrazi too, because I hadn't messed with the game in a while, and I wasn't there for Rise Block for any of the Zendikar, Worldbreaker, or Rise of the Eldrazi, and I saw the Eldrazi and immediately was like, God, dude, I fucked up. I was out of Magic for the best parts.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw an Eldrazi. I'm like,
I
holy shit.
I
Being out of the game.
came in my pants like immediately. It was so good. It was so good. And I knew that I needed to do something with that, and so I ended up building. At the time, the Eldrazi weren't that expensive either. They're not what they are now, and they fluctuated. But I got the deck on the relative cheap. I think I probably spent somewhere between 150 to 200, which is, I mean, even now is pretty cheap.
Yeah.
But to get all the pieces, we're talking like Ivugan, we're talking Eldrazi Temple. And this is before everything spiked with Eldrazi Winter, which if you don't know what that is, feel free to look that up. It was a
Crazy, crazy time.
cucked ass time in Modern. Where
Oh yeah. That was great.
Oh my god. I thought everyone was all pissed off about that, but I thought that was fucking
It was
amazing.
amazing. Yeah, it was great.
Just watch these fucking Askedi monsters just tear your fucking face up while no one like people just have to stand by and watch. And it wasn't even control. It was there are games that are non-interactive, but the problem is no one's interaction was up to snuff with the Eldrazi that were on the table. So it was like the complete opposite of what generally makes game spaces and Magic completely rotten. And I thought that was funny as fuck because they're just so bad. But I mean, I loved watching all the matches because it was just like, oh, cool, fucking turn 3 Eldrazi mimics that were then pumped up to like 5/5
Reality Smashers.
Reality
Reality Smashers. And
Smashers.
just kill them.
Oh my god, the Eldrazi mimic for a moment in time was as powerful as Goyf in its day, and as Tarmogoyf, and I mean that shit was fucking enthralling to watch, man. That was awesome. And it's funny is even in that time I remember going back to trying to play a few FNMs too, and like the rules in Magic had changed drastically from when I stopped playing back in like 2007, 2008. Like mana burn had gone away.
Still mad about that.
Yeah, I wish mana burn was still back. It fucks up infinite mana combos so fucking bad. Like
yeah.
I don't like that it's gone because it really forced you to be more mindful of like your resources and making sure that like you get punished for overabundances. And I genuinely do think it's a good part of the game. I know like it's not fun for a lot of people, but they need to realize that it's like a hard cap on a lot of different fucked up strategies where someone makes infinite mana. I mean, I've watched someone make infinite mana the other night and thought to myself, like, boy, dude, if mana burn was still around, they'd be fucked right now because I didn't use it. They made it and they passed and they're like, oh, I'll make infinite mana, but I can't do anything with it. They wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't have made that, and they probably would have been a little bit they would have been more hesitant to find that line. So that had changed. I learned the hard way too that damage on the stack was no longer a thing either.
I could see why they changed it, but I still miss it because all the weird,
Yeah.
tricky. It's like it's like you're cheating
It's weird
using
because
it. It's like it feels like you're cheating.
I had gotten so used to it, and
Yeah.
I didn't know what to make of it because it's very tricky. Like a good example would be for people who weren't familiar with how damage worked on the stack when it used to be on the stack. So I could essentially block with give a good easy example. You attack me with your creature, and I block with Mog Fanatic is a good example. Mog Fanatic is a 1-drop that it's a red 1-drop goblin that I can sacrifice it and deal 1 damage to. I think it's been eroded to any target.
Yeah.
So what I would do,
It's 1/1.
yeah, I would block with Mog Fanatic on your creature. I would declare Mog Fanatic as a blocker against your creature that you're attacking me with. Doesn't matter what you're attacking me with. Point is, I'm blocking with Mog Fanatic. While Mog Fanatic's damage is on the stack, I'm going to sacrifice him to deal 1 damage to your face. So your creature would still take the 1 damage, and you would get hit to the face. So it's weird because you shouldn't be able to take an action and have the creature still be able to deal damage to another creature, and that's why they eventually got rid of that because that's such a weird thing to make work, and there's a lot of interactions. That's the simplest example, but there were a lot of examples in that vein that were really complicated. So they stopped doing that, and I got punished for that in FNM real hard, where I was just like, what the fuck? What do you mean my creature's not dealing damage? And I remember the player across from me didn't really have the tools to explain that it was no longer damage on the stack, but luckily one of the guys at the shop, who was one of the judges, asked me when I had left the game, and I let them know. It was like 2007, 2008-ish. And they're like, oh, yeah, damage isn't on the stack anymore. And I was just sitting there like, God damn it, dude. I should have known that. But I got over that. And I kind of, in that time too, when I got back into Magic, this was in late 2015. And a lot of the sets coming out around that time were super underpowered. So like Battle for Zendikar was the latest set at the time.
Wait, Zendikar was 2015?
2016. 2016.
Okay.
Sorry, yeah.
That still feels
I remember because I was buying into
feel old.
Oh, I know. No, BFZ is like close to 4 years old now. You know, those are long. I mean, we talk about time spiral.
Oh no, it was 2015. Holy shit.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Fucking you're sitting here telling me about how I'm drinking and all the topics we're bringing up, but look at who's the fucking.
Apparently, I'm the retard.
Yeah, fucking feel the retard shame right now. You fucking did it to yourself. So fucking, you could have called me on that, and I would have had fucking no resistance. I don't fucking remember at all. I don't remember shit. So we I should say like the play group that I had started getting into with at the store, they had some pretty decent builds, and I remember having to build a pretty strong initial deck to be able to be on par with them. I wasn't a stranger to it. Like I saw that the format was essentially goofy ass Legacy, where it was just anything and anything kind of goes. And there were ban cards, and I was pretty adept at making a decent list. A lot of it was generating a good amount of red mana, which is plenty of rituals. There's a lot of cards that are able to, like Mana Geyser is a good example, where I believe it's 3 and 2 red, and it's a sorcery from Fifth Dawn that when you cast it, you put X amount of red mana into your pool, where X is the number of tap lands that your opponents control.
Speaking of rules changes, they don't use the term mana pool anymore. Fucking old man, you old fucking geezer.
You're not fucking wrong. Yeah, I remember trying to explain to the girlfriend what the fuck a mana pool was, and I'm just like, it's an invisible. Think of it as a invisible pool that all your money goes into, and then it goes away at the end of the turn. She's like, wait, so what the fuck? Why is it not there? Is there a way to see it? Is there a way to denote it? I'm like, nope, you just got to kind of remember how many reds or greens or whites you got in your pool there. And she just looked at me like, this is fucking stupid. Why is it fucking called the pool? I don't understand. And like, I remember explaining that, and I think they still refer to it. They just don't refer to it in the text on cards anymore. Like
Yeah,
if you go
it just says add red
add,
mana or add
yeah,
green mana.
they did it
That's
for
all it
this.
says.
They did it for the sake of removing additional text, but I think the mana pool itself still exists.
I don't know.
I'm I think that's how it goes. Yeah, again, don't fucking quote me. Neither of us are clearly fucking the experts we claim to be. So, point being is that you add red, a shitload of it, for how many tap lands your opponents control. So that in turn, like turn 5, everyone's got tap lands from trying to do what they need to do, to get through their turns. And as soon as turn 4 or 5, depending on how many mana rocks I played, I get a free spaghetti monster. Any of the Eldrazi for 5 mana. And that deck was a lot of fun because Urbrask himself would give my spaghetti monsters haste and then have my opponent's monsters enter and tapped, which for
I
people
still like Urbrask. He's cool.
I do too.
He's underpowered compared to the rest, but I still
of
like him.
course. Oh yeah. Like there's no comparison, but I mean he's still a solid ability. He's a creature that gives everything you control haste, makes everyone else's creatures come into play taps, which is nice, so they're not shooting off abilities right away or trying to, if they do have haste, coming in and swinging right away. Like I believe it's 3 and 2 red for 4/4 with him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the 5 Praetors in out of New Phyrexia. Was generally deemed the weakest, the strongest being probably Vorinclex.
I'd argue Elish Norn. Elish Norn's got a special place in my heart.
Elish Norn is one of my favorite creatures, in spite of how much people seem to bitch and moan about Elish Norn. Elish Norn's fucking cool. Like, that swinging power is nuts.
That's a 4-power swing.
Oh my god. To statically make all of your opponent's creatures -2/-2 and give your creatures +2/+2 other than her with vigilance on board. Like, Doran loves Elish Norn all day. And she's really I adore that card. I'm still not super big on Sheoldred. She's all right. Sheoldred's I feel like she's too slow.
Yeah.
For what she does, I actually think in my mind she's weaker than Urbrask, even though I know that's probably not the case. But I like that Urbrask has an immediate effect. I'm not super big on reanimation all the time. And even in decks that I have that do have reanimation elements, I don't always focus on them because Graveyard Hate is not
everywhere.
It's not at a premium anymore. Yeah, it's fucking everywhere. Like, especially if you're playing against like able-bodied players. Fucking Rest in Peace, which is a 2-drop enchantment for 1 and a white that just says exile all graveyards when it comes into play, and then if a card would go into a graveyard from anywhere, just exile it. Like, that card is ubiquitous. I see it all the time. So
Jukabog, Tormod's Crypt, all that shit.
Jukabog, yeah.
Scavenger Grounds. It's everywhere.
Oh, my dude, Scavenger Grounds. I'm glad I invested in that card before that.
Oh yeah.
Before it took it. It's still not high, but I mean, I bought it at like a quarter. Well, the card's like $2-3. But those having Urbrask at the time felt extremely powerful, just to be able to send my spaghetti monsters to the face quickly. And that was when I really, the guys I met at the time too, they were good, solid mongoloid-esque motherfuckers who were always into talking shit. They had decks that were probably 7s and 8s at the end of the day. They weren't like super pimped out or super hardcore. That's where I met Paul with that first group of guys. Paul was one of the more eccentric.
Yeah, Paul was a character.
Paul's a character, which I'm sure he's probably not ever listening to this, but
Of course not.
No, but there's a special boy, special place in all of our hearts. Point being that was the level of character that I used to encounter at the shop I initially went to before I went to the shop that we would play at later.
He was a male stripper and he was covered in tattoos.
God, yes. Some of the shit he would show us. Oh my god. Just in broad daylight. I'm just like that's a different cut. A different cut of man.
Yeah.
I'll miss that motherfucker. But that was the good part about being able to play with those guys is for me, Magic has a lot of different sects to it. Like sect in the sense that there are players that are very much in the avenue of winning and not, having very uninteractive matches where they're not generally speaking. And I get that way sometimes too if I play competitively. Like if I'm playing for money, I'll put my hand, like I'll physically put my hands over my mouth. I generally won't make eye contact over there because I kind of know
time.
Yeah, it's fucking quiet time. Like do your business, try to win, make your money. And with EDH, I like the element of I like being more expressive during matches, talking shit, saying things that are fucking awful, because it's the Duncan format,
Yeah.
If you can't talk your shit there, where can you talk your shit? I generally won't do it during competitive play because I'm gonna have a judge called on me when I call my opponent.
Our table is routinely the loudest in the store. Just a bunch of fucking screeching mongoloids.
It's probably I hope it probably took a small downturn after I left.
Yeah, it got a bit quieter.
Yeah, I would imagine so. But, that group that I had at that other store was pretty special. And that was when there were a few guys that ended up coming into that store that were just fucking awful people. Like, to this day, I'm not going to say any names or who people were or what happened with stuff, but we had some guys that would come into that shop that were genuinely shitlords, and I'm a grown ass. I want to say I'm a grown ass man, or at least pretend I'm a grown ass man. But point being that I had no patience for that shit. And, we had some games where guys were doing what they could to either kind of upset people at the table, troll people, be awful. And I think that was the first time in Commander where I realized that people weren't here to have a good time. They were there to satisfy means to an end, to be just shitlords in public. And that ended up forcing me to go to the different shop that I met you and the rest of I think you were probably the first one I met.
Yeah, because we get there the earliest.
Yeah. It was us two at the table, the earliest of the bunch. And we had some good games. Even when I think we played a few one-on-ones and had a good time.
Yeah.
And then I eventually ran into, I'm sure at some point they'll probably be on the podcast with stuff, but that was when I ran into Justin, one of our other buddies. It was a prominent EDH player, and everyone else from there. I was able to find another solid group in a play space where it hadn't just outright been, fucking ruined. And in the mix, there were some pretty good stories in between. Like I had the best story I tell is the one where I had the kid who he was
he likes CEDH, but not the fun kind of CEDH.
No, he's quirky as fuck, and he likes the completely uninteractive CEDH. And
Yeah, the glass cannon, and he enjoys playing against like casual pods.
yeah, like I don't know whether he knows that he's trying to pub stomp or do that shit. Uh,
I don't think he knows.
I don't think so
That's
either.
just
I think
yeah.
it's his way of trying to be social.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's a special boy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we had that one game where he had taken. This is when I was playing Mono Black, and I had Toshiro Umazawa, who has the ability to give instants in your graveyard flashback, provided that another creature has died on board that turn. And I remember he had looked at my commander from across the table and went, "Oh, that's not a very good commander." And I don't think that he knew that he was kind of talking shit. So me being the awful human being that I am, I said, "Yeah, you're right." And he didn't know that I don't think he took notice that I had the original Soren Markov Planeswalker on Mindslaver mode where I had enough loyalty for me to use its ultimate where you can take someone's turn for them. So I said something to the effect of, "Yeah, you're right. He's probably not very good. You know what? I'll go and play with your commander for a turn." So I fucking mind slaved him, and it went around the table. And this is already in light of at some point during the match, he was frustrated because he didn't understand why people were like talking shit to each other or why people weren't trying to like outright win. We were just kind of just people were just taking a shit on everyone around them without a clear win con. All the time, it was just like it was just beating each other in the face, without infinite combos, without like a clear line. It was just do damage where you can. And so I came back around to him, and he just said, "Well, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and scoop right now because I've got Necropotence in my hand, and I know you're just gonna Necropotence me to death." And I said something to the effect of, "Well, I probably wasn't going to, but that's a pretty good idea. And you're right. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that now." So he scooped on demand and like left. And that was the last time I saw him for a very long time. And I should say I felt awful, but I didn't. I didn't feel awful at all. Like, I think some kids, like, they need to
He
learn.
deserves the hate.
Yes. Not in a bad way. I think
No,
like
no,
it's
no.
like anything
In
else. Like
in game.
you and I have both been in those situations where you need to get snubbed in the nose to understand sometimes like
Yeah.
where you need to grow as a person.
You need to get your nug slapped every now and then.
Yo, dude, like
Bring it back down to earth.
back and forth. So after that, that's probably to from that point on, and from some of those situations, um, even past the other one too, where I had another game with specifically that kid that was kind of that shitlord at the shop where I played out overwhelming splendor on him that I don't think I've felt a greater sense of accomplishment from that time. Overwhelming Splendor is an 8-drop wide enchantment that effectively is just a humility for the person that ends up getting enchanted with it. And he bitched for months.
Like before I knew you, he would bitch about it to me. Before we played a game, he was like, I played a white deck. He's like, "You got Overwhelming Splendor in there?" Like, no, why? He's like, "Man, this fucking guy played it on me." Bullshit. That card should be banned. I'm like, all right, whatever, man.
Oh,
I learned it was you. Like he just kept bringing it up.
so fucking ridiculous. Like I don't even want to. It's funny because that moment kind of showed off how just shitty of a deck builder he kind of was at the time with everything. And yeah, honestly, like that kind of spurred me to keep playing too, because there's one thing that's always going to get you over the hump, and that's not getting back at somebody, but kind of just like outplaying someone.
Yeah.
Like to the T, to where it's glaringly obvious that not only are they not like great people, but they're also just shitty at the game that they try to like imagine they're good at. And so I'll call it karma. I don't know. Give it a name. That might be it. But from that on, I pretty much fell in love with the format. Not because of that moment specifically, but an additive of moments. Meeting you guys, finding a new shop, finding a better play space, being able to just get got on a few different players who were classically not the best people to play with, and kind of finding my strat in Commander, which I'm sure a day will come where we'll talk about some of our more current decks. But yeah, that's about the gist of where my history of Commander with the format came from. So, I mean, I know there's probably more stories.
There's way more. Just can't remember.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll let you go ahead and complete your circle on your Commander journey.
All right, so before I left the game in 2007, I want to say 2007, 2008, my friend told me about this new format called Elder Dragon Highlander, and it was all these like weird arbitrary rules. Like I don't remember them all, so long ago, but I was halfway building a Sabo Tavok deck, which is what is she? She's a 5 red and a black, a 7/4 first strike
I miss
with
it.
protection from legends,
Yeah.
and
Oh
she could
yeah.
tap to destroy a legend. Like he told me about the format, like how everything is legendary. I'm like, I'm gonna go legendary hate, a red black deck that just kills everything.
Oh.
But I only made like half of that deck before quitting because Lorwyn came out, and I was like, fucking enough of this
Wasn't
shit.
wasn't Sabo, was she a Phyrexian? I can't
Yeah.
remember. Okay.
Oh, she definitely was.
Yeah. I was trying to recall that. Okay.
But yeah, like I remember going to the old fucking it was like it almost looked like a GeoCities webpage. It was really old, real fucking stanky, but I mean, it was like, I'm already quitting the game. I'm not playing this.
That's how you know it was a GeoCities webpage.
Yeah. And then, of course, like last episode, came back in Theros, but fuck, where am I? I fucking lost my place.
You fucking
Oh yeah, um, yeah. The when I came back, Commander had taken over everything. Uh, like no one played the casual 60 cards anymore. Everyone just played Commander.
Yeah. That sounds
And
right.
yeah, like a lot of the game had changed in those. Fuck, it was like 8 years, 8 or 9 years. How just the number of players fucking exploded. The number of game stores fucking exploded. Magic had hit like super mainstream, where it wasn't just like the weird social rejects weren't playing it anymore. It was like college kids and people with like futures and people who didn't fucking smell and like actual like normal people.
Are you sure you were playing Magic the Gathering at that time?
It didn't feel like it. It didn't because like back in the old days, it was such like a niche game
Yeah.
that everyone who played it, like we all knew each other. It was very like tight knit, and there was a sense of community. And there was a lot of people you didn't like, but you played with them because they played Magic, and it wasn't too terrible. But like a lot of things have changed. Like nowadays, like people get like so fucking upset, like over like every little thing. Politics has become like it's it's at the forefront of everything. Like if you don't agree with someone's politics, you just don't play with them.
Right.
And I always found that bizarre. Like, motherfucker, I'm here to play Magic. And I don't care about anything else.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember drafting or trying to draft back in, I think it was RTR, and like the structures, the like the sets, like everything had changed. Like now, drafting sets had built-in archetypes, and when they design cards for standard, they have like built-in sort of archetypes. They plan things, and not like back in the day where they just threw shit at the wall and see what stuck. Which I mean, it does make for a better card game now, I guess, but you don't get the wide range of craziness. You also don't get like the super broken cards. Like, well, I guess now you do with all the bannings. but the art changed. It went from weird abstract watercolors to just it's the cards now representing what they do. And I
Yeah.
mean, I don't like it. Some of the art's good, but I mean, I guess that's why Seb McKinn is so popular, is because he does the weird abstract stuff, and so does Nils Ham, and I guess they gave Therese Nielsen the boot, but and Rebecca Joy still does good stuff. She does watercolors. And it, the mythics. Let's get on the mythics. I fucking hate mythics.
Yeah. I
It's
never
such
liked.
bullshit. Where they
I
the fucking chase cards. I hate that shit.
It's that came from a time in the game where I felt like they were trying to escalate pack opening because they
Yeah,
hadn't quite done that just yet. And it's funny because you go back and look at a lot of the mythics of the time, because mythics first got introduced in Alara block. And it's kind of crazy to see some of the mythics that came out during that time versus some of the, it waxes and wanes. With some sets, some of the mythics are far more pronounced than others. And then in some sets, like to go back to Battle for Zendikar, the mythics in that set were pretty much you got a mythic or bust in terms of
yeah.
things like either the second iteration of Ulamog or like the 4-drop Gideon out of that set. Everything else was like the disparity between
Good
those
and bad.
pools.
There was no middle ground. It was either they're
Yeah,
amazing or just trash.
right.
And I mean, I don't like mythics because they push sets. You can see like fucking Questing Beast is such a pushed fucking
Oh my
card.
fuck god,
Just
that
put a million
card's
fucking cards,
stupid,
put a
dude.
million fucking names on it, and just
I mean, don't get me wrong.
keywords.
I love that card. It's stupid. It does too many things for a 4-drop, but it
Okay, without looking at it, what does Questing Beast do?
vigil. Oh, okay. Let me see if I can guess this shit. Since let's see if
On the spot.
the Weller recall can help me here. Um, Vigilance, haste, death touch.
Death
It,
Touch?
yeah.
See, even I don't fucking know that.
What up? It's a 4/3. If damage cannot be prevented by attacking creatures you control, something along those lines. Your creatures can't get fogged. Um, creatures with power 2 or less cannot block attacking creatures you control, or I forget if it's just Questing Beast or creatures you control. I think it's just Questing Beast, but don't quote me. And then the last ability, because five abilities aren't enough. When it deals damage to a player, it deals that much damage to target planeswalker their creature that player controls.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, you're gonna, I don't know, fucking Death Touch? What?
It
See, like,
has
it's shit like
even
that.
if
I mean, like,
even if it was a 4-drop that was a 4/3 with death touch, vigilance, and haste, that card would have been fucking egregious, even during Alara block times. Like
yeah.
that card is too good. And then you strap on 3 other abilities to not be able to fog, to not be able to be blocked, and then to simultaneously deal damage to a walker. I get it because you talk about the functionality of like what the card art is. So it has 3 heads, hence 3 innate properties between the vigilance, haste, and death touch, and then the
Yeah.
3 additional abilities. So it's supposed to be sets of 3 according to the 3 heads that are on that creature, right? But it's just too fucking good. It's too good. And therein lies the problem with like the mythics versus the rares, because you can just tell what's pushed so much harder than not.
Yeah. It's I just I am not a fan of the mythics because they just I think I've said enough about that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just fucking retreading old shit.
No,
But
I
yeah,
mean
it's like
it's always gonna come up. What are you gonna
yeah.
do? But it's all that stuff is in service of just opening packs and having the feel goods when you open your mythic. And that the power levels. are distributed according to mythic versus rare status. But even then, that shit gets blurred nowadays. Like, it's not even clear what they understand to not be
Yeah.
a push card, because look at the uncommon walkers out of War of the Spark. Like, I mean, that shit's just borderline egregious across the
Yeah, like,
board.
and the thing is, like, they put all the good card slots in rares and mythics, and there's
Right.
very few good commons and uncommons anymore. And I mean, even Wizards doesn't know how the fuck to balance these things. Look at Modern Horizons. How they thought, like, yeah, let's up the power level for these for the for modern, and they just completely misunderstand. They have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Fucking Hogak. I love
I
Hogak.
think I
He's
said
great.
I will fucking pull one out of the fucking say the win category for me the day that I fucking called Hogak being too fucked up for modern.
Oh yeah, it
I
was the
definitely
first
remember
page,
making a comment. Yeah.
and me not believing it. It was like, it's dog shit. No one's gonna play that.
No,
And then
dude.
and then they released the preview for Altered Adventure. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's gonna be stupid.
Even without Alter, dude, that card's fucked up because by that time Stitcher Supplier was already out. Same with Faithless
Yeah.
Lady. You didn't even need Alter. I mean, people forget Delve's a fucked up ability.
Yeah, Delph.
Convokes a fucked up ability. It's an 8/8 with trample.
For 7. I think he's 7.
It's 7, but it's actually just free.
Yeah.
God, dude. What the
Yeah,
fuck
like,
were they thinking? Like, how did that even get
what's
out of testing?
yeah, like, even with Yoko, like, or Oko, fucking they have no idea how to balance this shit.
So the thing is that they do, but then they tell their stories about when they change things late in the game,
Yeah.
and it's just it's frustrating because there's no need for that shit. Like, keep it at the power level that it was at. Stop pushing things to sell. Maybe that has more to do with Hasbro, but
It probably does. Like, same
probably.
thing with, like, with all the collector boxes and the the new, what was it, the secret layer? That's fucking all that shit's definitely Hasbro.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's beside the point with it.
Yeah.
Go ahead and
So,
continue with.
but yeah, yeah, the Magic culture as a whole is it's drastically changed. I mean, you still get the feel of the community for with like if you have like a private play group, but like at the LGS, like maybe it's because I live in like a huge city, but it's definitely changed. Like there's people from the old game store that I used to play with that go to the game store I currently go to, and they fucking stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
They they they're fucking they're the weird characters, and like I guess it's good because you have more players now, but I guess I'll just mainly stick to my own play group.
It's it is a little disparaging to see like people that were very into MTG that are probably like, I don't want to say considered like social rejects or people that just don't have like good social abilities a lot of the time, but to watch people that are like good at the game that were very invested in it and then eventually move towards kind of like being the sore thumb
Yeah,
in a crowd. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's pretty disparaging.
yeah. You start getting this like segregation of like the fucking just like in like middle school, the weirdos go into like their dark corner,
Yeah.
and the normal people fucking run out and go on with their lives. And
Right.
that kind of happens at game stores, and it kind of sucks. This was their escape. This is why they leave the house.
Yeah. Oh, that was literally the only reason they fucking left the house at
Yeah.
all. It's magic day. Oh boy. I don't know why my mom fucking impressions of like magic players end up sounding like fucking Skeletor.
Skeletor.
I know. Today is the day.
And I guess this is me going on my fucking soapbox. Is that I fucking Watsy making cards for Commander. I mean, the Commander products are fine. It's the cards that reference the format on them. Like you get cards like the Eminence and the Command Towers and Arcane Signets. Like it homogenizes the format and it makes them just staples. Like these go in every format. And I get it. Like you have a choice to put them on your deck or not. But I mean, seeing them in every single deck,
It
I guess
is
it's
a
more of like me just being a little hipster douchebag and fucking no. I
no.
want to
I
be a
mean, it's
special self.
odd.
Like it's probably a little bit of both, but
It's half and half. Like,
yeah,
I know that this call it the sanctity of the format, right? Like, you want these things to be very unique, and you want them to be unto themselves because Commander still isn't a format that's controlled by Wizards. They just
thank
make things for it, which is it comes back to like I'm sure there's frustration on their level too because they weren't there from the ground floor when it came to like monetizing this whole thing.
Oh yeah, they're definitely fucking salty about that.
Yeah,
That the most popular format in Magic is one not created by them.
yeah,
That's kind of sting.
yeah. Oh, fucking hard. But I understand why they would want to pump out more stuff that is viable for the format. Like Battle Bond was great for the format, and there's a lot of
Oh yeah,
commander reference cards out of there. So
that
I don't know.
they did that right. Like I'll they did Battlebound was right. That with the partners,
Yeah. Oh, that stuff's great.
that's the correct way to do it.
Yes.
Don't do it like what was it, Commander 2016? That was the original
That
partners, right?
shit, that shit was nuts. Yeah, the original Commander sets out of
Yeah,
2016. That felt
those
like
those are boring.
it
More
was
Battlebound.
boring. It was boring and it was too easy.
Yeah,
But I mean, they had to. I part of me understands that they had to do that in order to get to Battle Bond because I know
yeah.
they had to understand that unless you make fixed colors for that, then it's too easy to make decks that are too functional. So I don't fault them for it, but I know that there's a better way, and it was the way they did it in Battle Bond with partners, you know, or sorry, partner with, not just outright partner. And I don't necessarily believe them anymore when they talk about gearing everything towards just Commander because in reality, I mean, I thought
I did
Commander
not. I did
2019
not.
was pretty shitty.
I didn't like that announcement where they're gonna make 9 Commander decks next year, and then it's
Yeah,
gonna be all this like, oh, this is where it gets bad.
I'm not
This
even
is where they
looking.
go fucking hard on Commander, and they just fuck everything up.
I'm not even like looking for like huge reprints. I'm probably one of the few people that I'm not super sad when I don't see reprints in like the Commander decks. I'd rather see new shit.
Yeah, same here.
And a lot of the stuff they put in C19 did not feel especially great. Like I walked away from that was probably the most forgettable Commander set of all the Commander sets I had been around for.
What was C19? I don't remember.
I I remember playing the I don't even remember her name. Right, this is people are gonna be if the one person again who listens to this is gonna be sitting here going, "Oh, is it? It's Kadena, Slinking
Oh yeah, the
Sorceress,
morph,
the
morph,
the
and
morph
there was
commander."
flashback. A
It's
bunch of other
there's
shit.
oh you're talking about the
Cares.
other mechanic. Yeah, there's the flashback one. There's the populate one, and there's the madness one. The madness one was the one of the Markovs, right? I
Oh
think.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now I
Maybe it wasn't
remember.
a
See,
Markov. Dude, that was a Falcon. It was a Angie Falconwrath was the name. There we go.
Falconwrath. Yeah.
Yeah. But point being that I played the Kadena deck unchanged in a commander league at the LGS I go to now, and that was miserable, dude. It was bad. They put in 41 lands, and it was like,
Jesus.
yeah, it was. I mean, I don't throw 41 lands into any one of my decks. I usually hit 36 to 38,
Yeah.
and 41 felt. I mean, there's probably probabilities to show that it's not that much of a difference at the end of the day, but it's still. I more often than not was hitting dead cards a lot of the time, and it was not fun. And I remember pulling. This is in comparison to the C16 and C17 decks that I remember pulling those out of the box, and they were powerful as fuck.
What
Like
was 17? 17 was the
17 was
tribals, right?
tribes. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Tribals was
dragons.
fun.
Oh, dude, first the Ur Dragon was great.
Oh yeah.
Even the Cats deck was fun. It was good. It had a lot of answers, and C16 was the 4-color commanders, and those decks were fucked up. I mean, they
Oh
were
yeah.
great, dude. They hit hard. They had a lot of things going in them. And they were great because a lot of them were just shells for different builds too. Like there was a lot of ubiquity in them, and outside of just the partner mechanic. But when it hit C18 and they went back to walkers, I remember them kind of having that little downgrade, and then C19, I just had no connection with any of the cards.
I think the only card I got from C18 was Smithies. I think that was it.
Yuriko for me. That was the only card that I really ever used. I will say there's the one card of the C19 that was pretty cool, and that was that it was one of the flashback cards, Ignite the Future, which if you haven't run that card, that one's pretty fun. It's 3 and a red to exile the top 3 cards off your library, and then you can play them until the end of your next turn.
It's not bad.
And then it has flashback for 8. I believe it's 7 and a red. And you'll do the same, but you can cast those cards without paying their mana costs, or you can play them without paying their mana. Yeah, it's cool.
That's pretty cool.
I run that in Torbrand, and it's a fun card. It gets you there. Like if you're struggling and you need just action, like it gets you there. So it's cool. I like that card a lot. There might be a few other gems in there, but for the most part, that set felt pretty lackluster to me, and that's kind of the direction that you're talking about. Not to draw away from what you were, talking about earlier in your entirety of what you were saying, but
I don't even remember what I'm saying. It doesn't matter.
Probably doesn't. I mean, does anything we say really matter? Probably not. No. But Watsy, if you're listening, get it together.
Go fuck yourself.
Oh yeah, or that one too. That one's fine. Whatever. I feel no fucking obligation at the end of the day. I throw so much money at this goddamn game that I feel I get the message from them at times. I'm sure that Watsy's there thinking to themselves, "You go fuck yourself." Like
I fill out the surveys for the specific reason to tell them to go fuck themselves and how much they suck.
There's no way they don't fucking hate the neckbeards as much as the neckbeards bitch about them. So it's a hate relationship. To call it, don't ever think it's anything else.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, and it forever shall be that. It's the circle of fucking hate.
So there's something you wanted to talk to me about with.
Oh yes. So I happened to look up the bracket of rules changes that Mark Rosewater, one of the lead designers for Magic, had proposed to make, and these were left to a vote on his Twitter feed as to which rules changes would be the ones to progress on, to see if there was a rules change that would be the one that would be likely to be like instituted for Commander.
But he has no power over. Or is this just a thought exercise?
Yes, it's a thought exercise for the most part. So I wanted to get a hot take from you on your thoughts on some of these. Okay. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Just first things off the top of your head. Change in hybrid mana rules.
No.
No max deck size.
Bullshit. No. Keep it.
Soul ring ban.
On the fence, I don't like banning anything.
Okay. Non-creature legendaries. As commanders. As commanders.
No, because I like it. It's the fact that a legendary creature is leading your deck. I like that.
Okay. For a reference at home, Pat has not heard any of these.
Have not.
So, no commander damage.
Fuck that. I like commander damage. Even though I rarely ever use it. No, almost never comes up.
It's still so good.
It could fucking get people.
Fourth player advantage.
What the hell does that mean?
I'm assuming it probably means that there's some sort of imbued advantage they give to the player that
like
is considered
an extra card or something.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking dog shit. Just be a better player.
Okay.
Or roll better.
Yeah.
roll, get better at dice.
I've agreed with you on all of your points thus far. Maybe less on the Soul Ring ban. I agree with you that nothing should be banned. I don't think that Soul Ring is egregious. I think it is just
it's fine.
You get the fast mana, go hard.
I only sort of understand where they're coming from because it's in like every deck.
Yes.
It's one of those cards that it has to be put in every. I mean, just about.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Okay. Poison total change.
No. Poison cards are fucking shit. If you can't stop it, you deserve to die.
Good. Okay. Let's yep. Putting the tuck rule back in the game.
I think that'd be really interesting. I never played with the tuck rule, but I think it'd make the games a lot more interesting. Like it would force people to have backup plans.
I'm half and half because I feel like,
but some colors will just get fucked by it.
Yeah, some
That's
colors.
The other side. That's the other side.
I know that fucking Chaos Warp would go up in price like a motherfucker immediately. Same with Spin and a Myth. Like, I know of the cards that were involved in the tuck rule back in the day. Like, I know all the major players.
Yeah.
And part of me is like, it sucks. I think it would be way too easy for kids that are like shitlords or want to just be spiky as fuck to get in on that real quick. So I could see it being great. I could see it being shite, but it's like anything else in the game. I mean, there's plenty of potential damaging scenarios. I think if they put it back in the game, it'd be interesting. I agree with you. I think I would want to see it come back just to know. Wish boards.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too. I think
long like if it's a permanent thing, fine, whatever. But even like now, just tell me beforehand, like, hey, I have a wish board. Like, fine, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm of the same mind. I don't care about a wish board. Show me what you have first, because you know that story from me where I've been at the mercy of fucking car and lock when I was about to dome someone. That was some bullshit.
Yeah.
Changing the mulligan rules.
I think
I like the London. I think I'm fine with it completely.
Which one's London again?
That's
the Scry, right?
No, that's Paris. London is where you always draw to 7, and then depending on how many times you mulligan, you put that many cards back.
Yeah, you put them at
the bottom.
That's fine.
Yeah.
It's better than partial Paris.
I think it's better than partial Paris. Yeah. I think the London is the best mulligan they've had thus far. I like it.
Oh, that's right. It was Vancouver that you scry, right? I think it was Vancouver. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the Vancouver one was.
Okay-ish too, I guess, but as long as it's not partial Paris.
Oh, you're right. Sorry.
Fine.
It was the Vancouver mulligan where you scry. Partial Paris is where you put X amount of cards back, then draw them. And yeah, you're right. No changes.
Disagree.
I'm okay with no changes for the time being.
So I guess this is the perfect opportunity for me to voice my shitty opinion on the ban list.
Okay, yeah, yes, yeah. If you were talking about what I think you're going to talk about, yes, I fully agree.
I think like you can make a case for Caracas being banned, but I don't think any card should be banned.
Right. Yeah, I fully agree with that. Just take them all off. It's fine.
Yeah, I want to play with fucking stupid shit.
I want to play with Sway with the Stars. The card's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I want to play with Worldfire. I want to play with fucking all these like fucking stupid dumb cards.
I like Raphaelos. Raphaelos isn't even that fucking bad.
No.
Coalition victory is fine. There's a lot of things in there.
Coalition victory is fine. If you can fucking do that, you deserve to win.
They took off Painter Servant, and I watched fucking someone use Painter Servant to fucking juice Animar the other day because Animar fucking, or sorry, I didn't watch it. Someone was telling me about that fucking combo where Animar has pro white. Yeah, you name your color, whether it be white or black, and then Animar has protection from everything.
You just fucking dome people. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, it's great, but I'm like, why do we take Painter Servant off again? Like, Iona was never a fucking problem. Every game that Iona was in, unless you're playing monocolors, like, and even then, you should probably have a fucking answer. Iona was fine. I never had a fucking problem with her ever. Like, you have to be better enough to you have to be good enough to get around her.
The only time I ever got fucking dabbed on by fucking Iona is like I was running it in my deck. I had drawn too many cards for something. I was playing mono white. I discarded her.
Someone reanimated.
And our friend Justin. Yeah, our friend Justin. He fucking changed it out and named white. I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah. Oh, that makes me happy. That's fucking right.
I got fucking dude. I just that was it for me.
Yes.
Luckily, right. There was a Nevin Earl's disc in my deck, but still.
That just makes me want to bring back Iona even more now.
Yeah, it was fucking great.
Iona shit. That was the biggest, dumbest fucking scared ass ban ever. So tired of that shit. A life total change.
No, that's fine.
I'm fine with 40. It seems just right. Planeswalkers as commanders.
No. For the reason that it's not about Planeswalker hate or making the game last longer. I don't really agree with that. I mean, it's probably maybe a couple turns longer, but I like that commander focuses on the legendary creature.
Yeah. I'm okay with the walkers that are designated as commander playable because I know how to play around them now, but I don't enjoy commanders that are walkers that aren't being put into that slot because then it just Oathbreaker came and fucking died already. Like, it's pretty apparent that walkers as commanders are not the thing that most people want to be doing, I guess. I don't know.
There'll always be some people, but
yeah,
I like straight creatures.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of Walker commander players end up just fucking doming their commander right away. And, but why? And I'm like, don't be fucking stupid.
I don't think I would like change any of my decks at all. To a
Planeswalker. No, I used to have a Duretti deck for a long time too, and I ended up changing that out because I didn't enjoy walkers as commanders when I had them.
You have like protect them, and just it's a fucking headache.
Yeah, and they don't. I mean, they have an effect when they hit down, but it's always in increments. At least the ones that are commander playable, playable as commanders. Change to the partner tax.
To change either way, I guess. I don't know.
I don't really care too much
because they're separate taxes, right?
Yeah,
that's fine. They're two different cards. They deserve two separate taxes.
Yes, I agree with that. Commanders, when they die, don't use the replacement effect and ergo get a death trigger.
No, because they don't die. It's a replacement. Fuck you, Morrow. You stupid piece of shit.
Last one allows.
Another thing about the commander dies, like it doesn't make sense because if you have like Leyline of the Void out and a creature dies, it doesn't actually die. It just you don't get a die trigger.
Right. I don't agree with the commander dies.
It's fucking stupid.
It's fucking stupid. There's a reason you get to play that commander over and over, and that's because it has a replacement effect, and you're not reaping the benefits of its death.
Yeah.
It forces you to be more mindful of the times in which you've cast your commander. Because then you're not punished for the commander tax in the way that
And
you obviously want your commander to die.
and the thing is, like, if you want your commander to die, that means you're running some kind of black or white deck that has death triggers. You're gonna fucking bring it back anyways.
Right. Exactly. Like let it die and then do your thing. Don't send it back to the command zone and get a death trigger. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
The last one is allowing silver border core. Allowing. Oh my god. Comes the fucking.
Come on, Mushmouth, get it.
Allowing silver border cards. I'm assuming that means indefinitely.
I'd be fine with it because I already am fine with it. Like, if you're running silver border cards, just tell me.
I
As
agree.
long as they're not like fucking stupid, like topsy-turvy, or anything that extends the game like painfully long. Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. Yeah.
Like our friend he's got a contraption deck. That's fun. It sucks, but it's fun. He has a
Yeah.
coin flip that has like Goblin Bookie and a couple other like funky little cards in it. Like, that's fine. I don't care. Do your thing. This is fucking casual.
Yeah. I've never had a game where I disagreed with it. I'm sure there are some silver border cards that are fucking neurotic and annoying, but I've never
Yeah.
seen many people play those cards, so I don't trip on it too much.
Yeah, just
People,
if you do, just like, hey, I run silver border cards, but they're not stupid.
yeah.
Like, okay.
What's strange of the things in the game that people ask about or people are most upfront about, it's if they have silver border cards in their deck, and every time I've ever played against one, people are genuinely honest about it, and I'm not saying that's the case every time, but even if I were to see one that someone didn't say something about it, I'd still be fine. It's whatever. Commander's already goofy as it is.
Yeah.
And that was the full bracket. Yeah.
No.
I think as a whole, I just disagree on most of it. I don't think any
I
of
think,
this.
yeah, I think we disagreed with everything except the no change, and the no change was to change
Yeah, I know.
the ban rule.
The no change was because the ban rule was fucking stupid. That's pretty good. That was the case with it. All right.
And
So that
there's
was.
one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Go ahead.
That I completely glossed over was about the social problems in Magic. A lot of them come from what I call the card game paradox. I coined this. This is me. This is my observation.
All right.
Okay, you know how, okay, card game. You need to play with other people.
Right.
But the only people who are attracted to that card game are the antisocial weirdos.
Yes.
And they can't function with a lot of people. But you're forcing them to play with other people.
Right.
And that's where a lot of problems come from. You just gotta remind yourself, like, dude, these people have probably never seen another person all week. They're gonna be a little strange.
I feel like a week is undercutting it almost.
Yeah. They crawl out of their fucking caves.
Yeah. It's a fucking cave and they have to take like several different fucking methods of transportation in the form of like mama's car and like a fucking bus and like a fucking train. And they're like, it's it's the thing that always keeps me from enjoying the game more in Commander, in all honesty, is people that just don't like interaction. And it's like, I mean, I didn't come here to play a card game with myself, so you either deal with it or you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is the paradox, and who knows? That just takes time and a little bit of people learning to face humility, to stop thinking that there's like something on the line when it comes to social interactions. Like, just be you. Do whatever the fuck you want to do, man. I mean, obviously, you're gonna be quirky. Like we had players.
It's a fucking card shop. There's the people like go there in like fursuits and shit.
Right.
It's like you're not gonna stick out.
Right. At all. You'll be fine. So That's a pretty good end summary to everything. It is the game we play is a fucking paradox, and all you can really do in the mix is hope and pray that you don't fucking send someone back home to where they want to just fucking stop interacting with humanity as a whole.
Or eat a bullet or something like that.
Oh God, Jesus, I know. Oh God. So yeah. All right. Tell me about a card that you think is
Ooh,
extra extra
our
sexy.
special cards. All right. It's called Wipe Away. It's from Time Spiral.
Mm-hmm.
It's an instant. It costs a colorless blue, and it has split second, which is a fantastic ability, which they should do a whole lot more. And it's
Yes.
return target permanent to its owner's hand. Now, it's very plain, and it doesn't seem very strong until you're going up against someone who's trying to like stack their triggers right, and you just throw a
Right.
fucking wrench in their into their.
Yeah, I've seen this card used in both settings, CDH and just regular commander that you'd pick up. In both scenarios, it's equally powerful each time
Yeah, because
because
it's an basically an uncounterable removal spell, at least temporary
right,
removal spell at
right.
worst.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where there's a lot of cards on the field that can't be answered, and this just is an indefinite answer. And each time when I've had it used against me, it's backbreaking.
Yeah, it was a lot better when Paradox Engine wasn't banned. So you just respond to their like draw trigger or whatever, just bounce it back to their hand. Get the fuck out of here.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's kind of how I feel about that card. It's like most of the cards from Time Spiral that were essentially their old counterpart, but for one more mana, it granted you split second. All of those cards are powerful as fuck.
Like I remember someone had Aetherflux Reservoir out and they were like 60 health, so they didn't want to use it right away. So they just passed a turn just so they could bolt someone and just fucking just wipe away, get the fuck out of here. And then you saw the stupid look on their face as they just got beaten to death.
Yeah, fucking, this is what you get. You didn't use it, then you get to fucking lose it. Yeah. Wipe Away, I think, is a very underplayed card. Actually, the foil's super pricey for this card, too.
All the split second foil cards look really nice.
Yeah. They're super nice. They're also like, they see Fringe Legacy play sometimes, and that's where their price ends up going up a little bit. But Wipe Away, I think, is one where it's like, don't quote me. I want to say it's probably somewhere between 10 to 20 for the foil.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I mean, most of those foils from those sets are, but that
Yeah.
card's powerful. So,
Because I mean, like I felt like I wanted to bring it up because a lot of people play Crossing Grip
yeah.
and Sudden Spoiling, and this
Yeah.
kind of goes under the radar.
I think it is easily one of the most powerful of the bunch,
Yeah.
and it doesn't get the attention it deserves. So, I'd agree with you on that one.
So what is your super secret tech card?
My super secret type card is a pretty spicy boy, Brutalizer Exarch, which is an uncommon green creature from New Phyrexia. It's a cleric that is a 3/3 that when it enters the battlefield, you can choose one, so it's modal. You can either search your library for a creature card and reveal it, shuffle your library and put it on top, or put target non-creature permanent on the bottom of its owner's library.
And it costs 5 and a green.
And it costs 5 and a green. And it is. You had mentioned before that it wasn't one that you had liked classically.
I didn't like it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't like it when I first saw it.
And when you kind of.
I thought it was shit when I first saw it because I'm like 6 mana. That's fucking stupid. But when it has 2 modes on it that are both really good, and you could just tuck a permanent, just boom. Well, non-creature, but yeah, you just tuck a thing that annoys
Yeah.
the shit out of you, or grab a creature.
It's not a destroy. It's not an exile. It is just, it's better than that in a lot of ways. You put it at the bottom of the library. Obviously, it can still be tutored for like whatever you tuck with it, but that is, one of the best ways to get rid of anything in the game. And the ability to then also tutor a creature to the top if that's the mode you need. Like both of those modes are just stupid powerful. And having the body itself doesn't matter too much.
It's not
But
bad. These are 3/3 though.
no, he's got a little bit of power behind him, but the big thing is being able to spam
And
the
ETB.
yeah.
Yeah.
So classically, and I had talked about this earlier, where I play it in Nikia and I'll put out Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker, who allows me to make copies of the creatures by tapping it, and I'll just keep spamming Brutalizer Exarch to keep tucking non-creature permanents from my opponents control the bottom of the libraries. And when I've had enough control on the board, I'll just start tutoring creatures ad nauseum. So it's extremely powerful, and I've come to really like that card a lot. I mean, it's very splashable too. So it's all around, I enjoy that card quite a bit.
I've definitely warmed up to it after seeing it in action.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we've gone pretty long for, again, the one person listening to us at home with everything.
Hi,
Mom. Did you have anything that you wanted to add before we finish up here?
Oh yeah, we're on YouTube now.
Hell yeah.
So that one person that's listening to us on Stitcher or Spotify, you could go to YouTube and yell at us.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm fully okay with them yelling at us for sure. I don't think I had anything super old. I'm ready for some Theros spoilers. You're looking pretty spicy so far, so I'm excited.
Oh yeah, that's the one thing I wanted to bring up. That fucking what's her face? The red green god.
Yeah.
Ability's fine. I mean, Adam made a good point. It's not just I smash you. It's more of a techie card. But that art is fucking dog shit.
That's awful. It's not good.
It looks like a fucking stupid DeviantArt original character. It's
Yeah,
got six horns. It's got multicolored hair. It just looks terrible.
That was like when we saw Carrick. You know what's funny is when we saw Carrick for the first time, Son of Yawgmoth, and I thought that was fucking DeviantArt too, but it was actually, I enjoyed it. I thought it was cool.
On a smaller scale, it looks better. But yeah, like that's another thing with the art. A lot of the legendary creatures, they just look like they're from like fucking MOBA games.
Yeah.
Like they're just fucking like the little character fucking portrait.
I'm not a fan.
It's a little CGI character portrait.
Yeah.
Chainer is probably the worst offender of it, the new Chainer.
Yeah. I think I was the one that mentioned that shit.
Yeah, you mentioned it. I'm like, holy shit, you're right.
Oh, it was so bad. I had watched my roommate play so many MOBAs that I looked at that and I'm like, dude, that's a fucking MOBA character. So who knows? Maybe they'll change it one day. But all right.
No, they won't.
Give me some fucking hope, why don't you? All right.
Souring out. Because we're both fucking salty bastards.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Well, that's it for this episode. Again, we really want to thank all the new listeners out there should you happen to find us. If you liked what we talked about here today and you want more, we're looking to record the podcasts on a bi-weekly schedule, which we've more or less come into. We're getting more frequent with it. But you can look forward to seeing a new episode from us around every 2 weeks. Right now, we currently only have our email established, but we're always interested in adding additional features to the podcast moving forward, things to make us a little bit more interactable. So hopefully you'll see that in the immediate future here. You can also forward to our, what is it? Oh, sorry. God, did I say I'm stupid? I'm stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can also look forward to hearing guest features from some of our Commander regulars we played with, along with any other potential guests who, want to share their perspectives on experiences in the format as well. I was going to tell you, I have probably one of the more like prodigal-esque kids I've ever met in the game, who's like a budget wizard.
Oh yeah.
That he streams pretty regular. He talked about wanting to be on the podcast, so I think I'm going to try to
Ooh,
get him on here. Yeah, the kid's like a savant.
nice.
He's genuinely one of the best players I've ever watched. So we'll try to get him on here at some point. See what you think. But if any of you out there want to send us any feedback or any questions, our email for the podcast is patandpatmtg@gmail.com. And we just want to thank everyone again for giving us a listen. We look forward to talking to you all again soon. You got anything else before we cut out here?
No.
Good. Bye.
Riveting conversation.
You damn Skippy. See you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.